Shelley Armato. We are recording another podcast for Construction 2030. My guest today, I always call her Carol W. and she always says her last name for me again, but Warkoczewski, right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Good.
Anyway, this is Carol. Carol is the former city architect for the city of San Antonio, and I'll let her do a little introduction of herself. But before we start, Carol, I have to tell this really funny story, okay? So when we started our business, this is when faxes were real and like people marketed with faxes. And so I went and checked my fax machine, and there was this fax thing on there, and it said, join us in San Antonio. Or no, where were we the first time? Were we in San Antonio?
San Antonio.
Yeah.
2009.
Yeah, in 2009.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Join us in San Antonio for an I-LinCP event, and I don't even know what the rest of it was. And I went to Dominic. I'm like, babe, can you book me a ticket? I'm going to go to San Antonio. He's like, what are you going to San Antonio for? I go, I don't know. It feels like I need to be here. So I flew down, and I was like, I felt like a fish out of water because I knew absolutely no one. And you were there, and your daughter was there, so gracious. And I just kept sitting in the room like, I solve all those, my company can solve all those problems. And Carol's like, who is she? Is she even from Texas? You don't look like a Texas girl. I'm like, but I can solve all those problems you're talking about. So we've been sponsoring your I-LinCP events. We've had some absolutely fabulous times. Yes. And we were just in San Antonio, I don't even know when. Was it 2 weeks ago for the Smart Airports?
Almost a month, I think now, 4 weeks. I think so. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was October or August 4th and 5th, I think. Yeah. So.
Wow. Well, anyway, so I called, we always, when we're in there, we're like, Carol, you want to go to dinner? So this is Carol, my friend now. I consider you a friend. And do like your intro.
Yeah, well, thank you, Shelley. And just to kind of piggyback onto how we met, it was a kind of a God thing, I believe, because I don't remember, like, how would I have gotten your fax number? Because we're faxing stuff to people in Texas because we're primarily based in Texas, and somehow, your number got through there somehow. And I think it is a God thing. So when I started to learn a little bit more about MySmartPlans, I really dug it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what our industry needs, because it was right after this conference that I actually formally started a nonprofit called the Institute for Leadership in Capital Projects, I-LinCP, and so, which is pronounced I-LinCP. And so, that was part of the reason why I started I-LinCP was because our industry is so siloed. It has been siloed. It still is siloed, but I'm hoping, my belief is that I'm helping to bring those silos together and break down some barriers, but especially between the design side, the architects, engineers, and the construct side, the contractors and the subcontractors. And then, of course, the facility owner side or the project owner side. Doesn't need to be buildings, can be, horizontal projects as well. Doesn't matter. But, and our contracts often put us at odds against each other. And so we, and I don't know if we're ever going to really get a contract that is more equal. Integrated project delivery starts to do that. Design build a little bit, but it still keeps the owner over here. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But the reason why I see MySmartPlans and I-LinCP as very aligned in our mission and our values is because we're about bringing people together. We're about transparency. We're about sharing information and bringing teams together. So that's a big part of kind of who I am and what I believe in. And it started also back when in 2005, I got my master's in organizational leadership and ethics from St. Edward's University. And I am a registered architect. And so been, in the industry for over 40 years. So I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, the fantastic, the things I'm proud of, the things I wish would have gone better. But throughout all of my history and my experiences, what I have seen is that when people don't trust each other and people stop communicating, that is when the troubles really start. So I also have, besides I-LinCP, I also have my own company, which is called Synergy Builders Consulting. And through that company, which I started actually before I joined the city of San Antonio in 2012 as a city architect. So I was doing that work for a while. I came to San Antonio in 2012, and then I just retired in April of this year. So I'm back to Synergy Builders Consulting, as well as being the founder and chief vision officer of I-LinCP. By the way, I'm also the executive director of the San Antonio 2030 district. So that's a whole nother thing to look at, which is focused on sustainability. But in any case, what I found is that the biggest issue around projects is when people stop communicating. So I'm often called in and say, hey, Carol, can you come in and just help us bring our team back together? So we'll do some realignment sessions and things like that. So, and that's why Shelley and I just get along, because we share those values of transparency and communication and sharing information and helping get everybody on the same page.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's so amazing how the fax became the modem for us to be connected, because really, I mean, it's like in the world where you just said, my computer just crashed. I had to get a new computer. And can you imagine if you're on a construction project and you've saved all of your files to your desktop, because really that's our competition, is desktop saving, and then your computer crashes and you're like, I don't know what to do. What happens next?
Yeah,
and
when
so
was
that's
the last time I backed it up?
Yeah. And then also, I mean, I'm not technical, as crazy as it sounds, being the CEO of a technology company. But luckily, I mean, I have all these people around me that I can call and say, hey, Carl, and he knows automatically your password is, because I'm like, I can't even keep my password straight. They're always changing them. Stop changing my password. Do you know what I mean? And Carl's like, okay, Shelley. So I have a team, luckily, that supports me. But how many subcontractors are out there that happens to them, and they're like, I'm trying to do the best I can do. So bringing fair play is another thing that we share in common. Bringing in fair play, like, let's win together. I mean, even though we are from Kansas City and we are the home of Patrick Mahomes, we don't support that idea with the football team, because we're going to win. Our team's going to win. But in construction, it's kind of like that, right? The general contractor's like, well, our team's going to get all the money and you guys are just going to be whatever. And we're like, no, let's just bring it together, because we can all do better together. So I love that. Okay. So also, I want you to tell us about some of the conferences that we've attended. One that was, I mean, Dominic and I still laugh about this. I don't even know where we were, because we always are a sponsor. We're like, oh yeah, we'll sponsor the printing. And I mean, so many times Dominic and I will bring the printing with us, because we're like, we don't trust it to get there on time. But I remember this one conference we went to, and it was a spa somewhere. Do you remember Lake something? I don't know. What was it called?
We've been to a lot of places where there were spa. Oh, the one out near Houston.
Well, I don't know, but it was, you picked the best. I'm like, okay, Carol, who finds these places for these events? Because we go to mega conferences, and I mean, they're like at the Marriott or something. You find the best places for conferences. I love it. What about the one we went to? Let's see. Well, at first, Carol didn't really know Dominic and I, like, as friends. She just was kind of like, well, these people are coming again. You're telling Carla, your daughter. I don't know. See if they'll sponsor. Well, yeah, they'll sponsor. One of our events we went to, you have the best auctions also. And yeah. Dominic and I got there early, and we were unloading your cars with you. I think this is when you realized that we were really your friend. And you're like, they are out here unloading our cars, Carl. We're like, don't you need help? I mean, we need to help you. So we've established this relationship based on helping each other win. And it's the same thing you do with your Synergy Builders, is come together and say, look, if the car needs to be unloaded on the project and you have time, let's work together. And that's the beautiful thing about your experience and what you bring to the table, because that's the facts, right?
Yeah. And isn't it a wonderful thing when somebody asks, how can I help?
Yeah.
Instead of thinking, how can I screw you?
I know. I keep laughing, Carol. I want to write a Netflix series on like like, the movie Schitt's Creek, that motel. I'm like, I could write a thing called Schitt's Creek. I mean, because it's just like, who thought of doing that? That is crazy. But there's so much stress involved, and there's so much finger pointing, even though, the workshop says, we're not going to finger point, but it's like we have to resort to that in the industry because no one has the same information. Everyone's trying to make decisions based off of the latest information, but they don't even know if it's the latest information. So it's like that thing that we have come together and conquered and said, okay, Carol, let's go arm in arm. So we really have that same mission. But I also love the fun we have. So like last with the Smart Airports Conference, we went to dinner with Carol and her husband, Tom. And I think we had a 3-hour dinner, even though it felt like we were there for 20 minutes. And I'm like, Carol, come with me tomorrow to my booth. And you put on Dominic's name badge because Dominic's got another appointment. So Carol became Dominic. And we sit there in this booth, like laughing and having so much fun. I mean, this morning you're like, Shelly, what was that? What was that guy's name that had the satchels? Oh, that's James Dean. We love him. I actually wrote on the card a heart. I just called him again. I'm like, hey, it's your people. He's like, oh man. So that's the kind of stuff we do. It's so much fun. So we have had a blast. So what is your burning thing that you're like, I cannot wait to do in the industry? What I know we talked about sustainability.
Yeah. So I want to slide into that because it's been very interesting. Literally the last 2 weeks, I have been invited to join a bunch of different kind of focus groups ad hoc because the city of San Antonio has a big $1.2 billion bond coming up for vote next May. This is the biggest one the city has ever had, which and last time we have them every 5 years. Anyway, one of the big efforts is to ensure that all our projects have sustainability goals, not just goals, but have strategies, best practices, tools, techniques that we're utilizing, all of that to help reduce our carbon footprint, to have cleaner air, not use as much water, have cleaner water, just bring nature in more. I mean, all the good things that we know are healthy for our longevity and for the environment and for the, continued resilience of ourselves and for the planet. So anyway, my work as executive director with the San Antonio 2030 district has kind of brought a lot of this stuff even closer to me. And so with I-LinCP, one of the things that I'm going to be doing next year in our next conference is going to be focused on sustainability. And I am super excited about it because this is going to be different and bigger than anything we've done before. Typically, we call them forums because we intentionally keep our industry has to focus on sustainability. We see very clearly the results of a warming climate, et cetera, et cetera. So I determined that our next conference, which will be our 2022 LinCP Forum in August of 2022, is going to be focused on sustainability. And I was saying that it's going to be a little bit bigger than what we typically do because there are so many, even just in the San Antonio Central Texas area, there are so many separate groups that are focused in different pieces: water quality, air quality, nature conservancy, things like that. So my intention, just like in most of my work that I do, is in connecting the dots and bringing people together. So the conference, the forum is going to be focused on sustainability. It's going to be great. We're going to live stream it so people can connect from anywhere. Have it at another cool place because that's one of the things we love to do is find great locations. So that'll be coming up. And then the other thing that we have, and this is already all lined up, we also have a big focus on equity and diversity in our industry, because one of the things we know is we've got to bring everybody to the table. And that means, all genders, all backgrounds, all kinds of good. So diversity in thinking, diversity in gender, in, everything. So we have a women's forum. It's called Invest in Women. and I say it's a women's forum, but it's invest in, and it's, I mean, most of our attendees are women, but we also want men there. Men are the predominant gender in our industry, as we know, and it can be challenging sometimes for women to break in or to be comfortable in our industry. It's changing. We see a lot of companies, especially construction companies, really promoting women and really being very proactive with helping women raise them up into leadership positions. But if you look at it in general, our industry needs a little bit more help with that. So this conference we focus on women and we bring the men in and engage in conversation with them as well. So that conference is in January. And by the way, take a look at all of our events. We have chapters in San Antonio, in Austin, in Houston. We're trying to get a chapter going in Dallas. But our website is I-LinCP.org. And so, feel free, get on our email list and you can find all the information.
Okay,
but
I have
again,
an introduction.
This stuff is everything.
I have an introduction for you. Do you know Trisha Krieger?
Trisha Krieger.
She's in Dallas. You have to know Trisha. She wrote a book called The B Words. And I will send an introduction. She manages risk. I think she works for, I should know. It's a huge group. It's not ERMI, but anyway, she can do the thing. But anyway, she just wrote a book about the B words, and it all has to do with women and the B words. Like one of them is bitch. I mean, like we're called so many things, and it's just been so acceptable. Yeah. And anyway, so yeah, she would be amazing for you to start your Dallas branch with. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll make that happen. Yeah. Let's see what else. I don't know. Is there anything else that we needed to? Oh, wait a minute. I do have one other fun memory that I have with you. The first, I don't even know how long we knew each other that we were automatically kindred sisters. We're like, oh, these are our friends, Tom. I'm bringing him home, and we're going to take him over to this restaurant in Lake Travis. Is that where we were?
Yeah, could be. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yes.
The Oasis.
I don't know. But you were just like, oh yeah, come over to our house. We're going to take you on this place to dinner. And Dominic and I are like, okay. We had never even seen such an amazing lake. So we have had some fun together, but now we're definitely impacting on so many levels. So one other fun thing I have to add, my grandson that is, let's see, Elam, I think he's 8. He's into recycling. You will love this. So he doesn't know this yet, but we're building him a recycle truck for for Christmas. And it's on a Power Wheel thing, whatever, but he's going to start recycling Crayolas. So it's like, getting our kids to understand the power that they have at such young ages is exactly what you're doing. Like, okay, so he wants to recycle. I'm like, Elam, start recycling crayons. Crayola has a huge recycle effort. And so bringing those conversations to the schools, to the educators and saying, look, think about everything that we're doing, because as a collaborative, we can change the world. We already know that. We're doing that right now, one Crayola at a time. So I love what you do. The $1 billion project I need to be a part of because we can definitely impact that. But yeah, I'm on your team. Whatever you want me to do, it's a phone call. Carla can call and say, hey, print 7,200 pictures of this. And we're like, do we have to bring it down? Because we're on the airplane or driving. We've even driven to a couple conferences because we're like, we're not going to trust this to get here. Oh my gosh, it's been so much fun, Carol. So what's your big plans for today? What are you changing? What are you doing today that's going to change the world?
Get my laptop up to speed. Because I'll tell you, if my laptop, I've got to, reset up my Outlook and all my emails and all that stuff. And I'm about 80% there, I guess. But I can't change the world without email. So I got to get that going.
Yeah.
But,
we're going to be back. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, kids. So Tom and I went to a grandparent luncheon at my older granddaughter Emma's school yesterday. And it's just, I mean, I tell you what, can just renew you, rejuvenate you, you know, and everything that we do.
I lost you again. Wait. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good. Okay. Okay. Well, let's be in touch. I think I have a conference, another conference. I don't even know where I'm going to be. I don't know. But anyway, hopefully the San Antonio airport will get that thing up and running and get you in to do your training. And I'll talk to you offline about that. I have an idea for that. And then I'm supposed to send you another card. But you got the list, right?
I'm not sure. I'll have to check my email.
Okay, Chelsea sent it to you. So if not, we can resend it. So thank you so much for your time.
Great.
Thank you for your friendship.
You, it's been a delight. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. We're going to go change the world. Carol and Shelley show.
Let's do that.
Okay, see ya.
Great. Thanks a lot, Shelley.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.